October the 10th, 1988. The tape is of the Morton, Illinois True Value Hardware Store, known as Wayman's Hardware Store. The building toward the rear of the hardware store and that adjoins the hardware store is the Morton Truck Body Company, and it was destroyed by fire. The hardware store was damaged by fire as a result of the fire in the truck body shop. This is the front of the hardware store. There are several occupancies in this same building. Actually, it's a group of buildings, a complex. The upper level is occupied as apartments. The hardware store building is constructed of wood frame and masonry in a common and unremarkable manner. There have been several additions. The doorway here, the overhead door, is the entrance to the hardware store receiving and storage area. This is a short leg of a U, the main building being roughly U-shaped with a metal building and metal and masonry building being appended or adjoining the hardware store on the east end, which is the rear of the hardware store. We're looking to the south. The overhead door leads into the truck body shop. The camera is panning now from the south to the east down an alleyway, looking into the north door. This is the north exterior wall into the truck body shop. This is the east or rear wall of the truck body shop. Several hot spots in the building can be noted because of the paint burned off of the steel coating. The building, the metal part of the building or the truck body shop is basically unprotected, non-combustible. The lower portion is masonry and concrete blocks with the metal or steel building set atop of it. This is in front of the truck body shop looking toward the west with the camera panning toward the north. This is the side of the hardware store. Looking now approximately due north, in the doorway on the left is the emergency exit for the hardware store. The gray door that was to the right of there is the doorway that led into the parts department of the Morton Body Shop. This front portion of the shop was a masonry building, and it collapsed. The wall, remaining wall, fell out at the time the fire department arrived. The front portion there was used as a paint shop. This is the interior of the hardware store from the entrance doorway, looking first to the west and panning the camera now to the north, looking across the aisles from the main entrance door, panning north to the northeast now, and now looking down the occurred in the retail portion. Looking at the ceiling, there was an original ceiling which was gypsum attached to the floor joists for the second floor above, and there has been a grid ceiling suspended added below the original gypsum ceiling. We're looking again toward the east, going back into the southeast corner of the building where the flame contact damage occurred, and the damage was above the suspended ceiling in this retail portion of the building. The hole in the black wall is where the flame entered the building, the hardware store, from the fire in the truck body shop. You can see the hole to the left. Now it's moving toward the center of the screen, and we're zooming in on it. That is a missing block. The fire entered into this retail part of the hardware store through that missing block. The flame contact was, for all intents and purposes, contained above the dropped grid ceiling, between the grid ceiling and the original gypsum ceiling, which failed in part and allowed some charring of the overhead joists above the original ceiling. Looking to the west now from the damaged area, camera is panning from west to north. We're looking due north now from the damaged corner of the retail part of the hardware store. Looking to the east through a doorway, we're now looking into the receiving area and storage room for the hardware store. A great deal more damage was sustained in this portion of the hardware store. Looking now a little bit northeast, and this is the overhead door and the access door that enter the receiving area from the north side of the complex. Stairway goes up to a loft. We're looking toward the east. The loft runs along the east side of this storage area, and it's above an office area here in the non-public storage section of the building. Looking into the office areas. Looking south now along the aisles, damaged merchandise, dropped burning material came down in this area and caused some secondary burning in this storage area. The fire was all high, other than that which is directly attributable to dropped burning material. low burning here in this southeast corner of the storage area is directly the result of dropped burning material. The merchandise in this room was stored for the most part on metal shelves. The shelves running in the east-west direction. The joists are unprotected in this non-public area. The south wall of the storage room is to the left. Looking now toward the south. The south wall, there's the top of the drywall. Now the bar joist that sits atop the drywall is what we're looking through. We're looking at sky. The roof is holed on the truck body shop side of this intervening wall. We can see that the top of the wall consists of the bar joist, and that the bar joists are open. This is the area through which the flame from the fire in the truck body shop passed into the hardware store storage room. The bar joists had a single membrane of corrugated metal attached. There's a piece of it remaining. The metal was only on the hardware store side. There was not a double membrane. The fastenings failed due to the heat of the fire, and the corrugated metal strips simply fell off and allowed the flames to pass unimpeded into the upper reaches of the hardware store storage area. In the loft, in the storage area, there was some direct flame contact to the storage shelves in the loft. This is due to the fire entering through the open bar joists and rolling along under the roof of this portion of the building. Dropped burning material then fell to the floor of the loft. We're looking out to the south from the loft. You're going to look right directly through the bar joists at the top of the intervening drywall, non-supporting drywall that separated the two occupancies. The drywall was peculiar in that the lower portion of it was gypsum on the hardware store side and was corrugated metal on the other side, the body shop side. The top, as I indicated, was the bar joist itself, and that was simply covered by one side membrane consisting of the corrugated metal. We're looking from the loft now. The camera is panning south to west, and we're looking down onto the storage area at grade level in the storage area. Looking toward the west, the overhead door to the receiving area is seen to the right, also the access door. We're now moving to the south. We're looking down to the west in one of the south, the more evidence there is of elevated temperatures. You can see that the metal shelves are sagging, which indicates temperatures in excess of 800 degrees at these lower levels. The intensity of the fire was building from the top downward. Flames were rolling unimpeded through the open bar joists and giving an oven effect, heating from the top down, destroying the upper material first, and then falling, burning to the floor, causing the only area of low burning. And this low burning is directly the result of drop burning material. It's not an origin point of the fire. This is in the truck body shop looking toward the west, out the front, if you will, of the building, although these three overhead door areas were not actually the front. There was a concrete block, a masonry portion of the building toward the west of this, and that actually was the front of the building. It, however, has collapsed and the debris, for the most part, been removed. Looking toward the parts room, see some of the parts shelves. Looking toward the north or the rear of the truck body shop, and the damage is progressively less toward the north end of the building. throughout the scenes in the building, you will note that the distortion of the unprotected structural members of the building becomes much less the farther toward the north or rear of the building that we go. Looking again toward the west. This is the northeast corner of the building. The camera's panning from the east now toward the south. And as you can see, the structural steel is much more distorted as we're looking toward the south now. Simply indicates that the fire was most intense and sustained for the longest period of time toward the south end of the building. All of the indications are that the fire actually was burning intensely first in the paint shop of the building, and that would have been the southwest corner of the truck body shop in the masonry portion of that complex. North end of the building, again, you can see that the non-combustible objects in the building do show that they sustained direct flame contact damage plastic junction point there that is melted and shows evidence of some heat. However, the insulation on the other line cord that's plugged into it is relatively intact. Uh, would estimate the temperatures at floor level at their hottest in this area to have been not too much in excess of about 350 degrees, and that would have been probably at the hottest point here at floor level or grade level in the north end of the building. And again, as you look further to the south, you can see that the damage to the unprotected metal is greater, that the distortion is much heavier on the south end of the building. The holes in the ceiling were skylights. They were fiberglass, and of course the flame contact took out those fiberglass skylights. There's a gas-fired unit heater suspended from the ceiling, typical of the heating facilities available for this part of the complex. This is in the northwest corner of the body shop, and there was um, air compressor and some electrical switchgear located in this corner. Electrical distribution center. This is in the main part of the body shop along the west wall. A single wall Class A flue for the venting of one of the gas unit ceiling suspended heaters. Insulation had been applied to the inside of the sheeting or skin of the building. However, there was no insulative material applied to the structural steel itself. It was totally exposed and unprotected. The classification of the building would be non-combustible, unprotected. This is in the parts storage and office area of the truck body shop. The office area is 2 stories. bar joists that permitted the passage of fire from this occupancy into the hardware store were just above the second level of this small office and part storage area of the truck body shop. Severe distortion from the heat of the fire to the structural portions of the building. There's a unit heater that was suspended from the ceiling that fell directly atop the safety roll cage on a forklift. The worst distortion is at the three bays on the west wall at the south end of the building. These three bays, the tops of which you see here, led from this metal portion of the building into the masonry part of the building which housed the spray paint booth and the storage of various flammable and combustible liquids that are germane to the painting of motor vehicles. We're looking south. This is the masonry portion of the building where the paint booths were located. We're looking from that paint booth area, masonry building area, into the metal part of the truck body shop. This masonry portion of the building suffered early collapse, and this is where the fire was located in the early stages of the fire, and it progressed laterally throughout the remainder of the building, that is the metal building. Heavy spalling is visible on the floor, which seems to be indicative of the presence of a great deal of heat of the type generally associated with the presence of burning liquids, flammable and or combustible, on the surface of the floor. The spalling does take place in an area where that type of material was known to be stored. There's quite a few cans, several hundred cans ranging from half pints and pints all the way through gallons and 5-gallon containers. There were several pressure painting pots in the area also, and some other spray painting equipment. The black areas on the surface of the floor are from the asphalt built-up roof that liquefied during the course of the fire and ran down onto the concrete floor. Looking into the parts and office area, looking to the northwest. Now, to the west, this is the inside of the access door to the parts room. That would be the public door where you could get to the office and parts storage and sales. Now they fire hold the roof in this area. The open bar joists can be seen. Now we're on the truck body side of the complex. Office area, upper level, and look through a window in the office upper level area, and you can see the open bar joist. There's one piece of corrugated metal. There's nothing here. There's another piece of the corrugated metal, and you can see that the corrugated metal was on the hardware store side, a single thickness only. The fasteners failed during the course of the fire, allowing corrugated metal to drop away, and the steel bar joists then were open, which readily permitted the passage of flames and heat, as well as the other products of combustion, to freely enter the storage room and receiving area of the hardware store. Looking toward the north again, see the distortion on the bar joist showing the amount of heat that was present at one point in time during the fire. That heated gases and open flame readily passed through the bar joist, and in this area the drywall structure, as well as the skin on both sides, was defeated. This is on the intervening wall between the storage and receiving area of the hardware store and the parts storage and office area of the truck body shop. retail area of the hardware store and the truck body shop, and you can see the missing concrete block. That block is directly above where the electrical distribution center and mains are located on the truck body shop side. The open bar joist and the missing block. Electrical switchgear, mains, distribution center serves the office and parts storage area of the truck body shop. The missing block. Doorway on the left is the emergency exit for the hardware store. The gray door to the right is the entrance into the office and parts room of the truck body shop. Hand-lettered sign on the door, Morton Body and Equipment Temporary Office, located across the street at 657 West Jackson. Telephone numbers listed at 266-5337 and 676 1519. The pile of debris had been removed mostly from the area of origin, the paint room at the truck body shop. wall kicked outwards from the top when it fell. Information received from firefighters on the scene indicate that the wall fell outwards just as they arrived at the scene. They were all still on the rig and hadn't gotten off, put down any hose when the wall fell, which is very fortunate. The concrete blocks were tremendously hot, as is evidenced by the way the blocks shattered when they fell. They were extremely brittle, the result of extreme temperatures that were present apparently for a considerable period of